video games. The most fun you can have on a Sunday afternoon in 1990. With fun comes the frustration. If only there was some way to help you beat level 16 or not worry about losing your last life. Well, here it comes. The Game Genie. Released in 1990 for the NES, this was the sure thing to help you master your games or just add a new level of craziness to them. The Game Genie came with the standard code book. This one was the second book as the first one had a purple cover. The book listed most of the games in the Nintendo library and had a variety of codes that you could use to modify each game. At the back of the book, there was a section where you could write down codes that were totally experimental. These were usually for the really crazy effects. Under the game title, the codes were listed on the left and the effects were on the right. To use the Game Genie, just connect the two by forcing the two together and stuffing the entire contraption into the front slot of the NES. Grab a code from the book and input the code into the entry screen. You could use a printed code or enter a random one for random effects. Don't forget to write them down though, because once you press start, you can't get it back. The first code entered will give you infinite lives. As you can see in this Mario game, he still has 3 lives after dying. The other code will give you adverse effects like bullet bills, Koopa Troopas, platforms, just random things inside the game that just make the game more difficult and challenging to play, or just really frustrate you. The Super Nintendo and the Sega Genesis got their Game Genies the following year. And connecting the device was just as simple as the original. Just put the 2 cartridges together, put it in the top slot, turn the power on. The small switch on the front was to turn the code effects on or off, which was really handy instead of resetting the machine. Code entry was the exact same as the NES. Just enter your code and press start and play your game and check your effects. The Sega Genesis had a similar code book. Codes were listed in here on the left, and the effects were listed on the right. The codes in this book were a little bit different though. They were 8-digit codes with a hyphen in the middle, probably due to the fact the machine was a 16-bit machine. To connect the two, you just push the two together, plug it in the top of the Sega Genesis, and this one also had a switch on the side to turn the code effects on or off. Turn the switch on to turn your effects on, and turn it off to turn your effects off. If you turned your effects off while playing a game, it did screw up your game as the code was still partially loaded into the RAM. Code entry was the same as the Super Nintendo. Enter your code and push start. Handhelds even got their own version of a Game Genie. The Nintendo Game Boy has the Game Genie. The code book is stored inside the back of the Game Genie in a small form, and this enables you to bring your codes with you anywhere you go as a portable function. Load the game into the Game Genie by reversing it backwards and plugging it in. This enables you to put stickers in the back of your cartridge so you can see the codes and enter them without having to refer to the code book if you really wanted to. In this case, this is how it's set up. Turn the machine on, and the code screen entry will appear where you can enter your code listed on the back of the game cartridge. The 2 buttons on the top of the Game Genie, one would reset the machine so you didn't have to turn the machine off and turn it back on again. The green button on the right turned your effects on or off, much like the little switch on the Super Nintendo and the Sega Genesis. The Sega Game Gear got their Game Genie as well. The codebook was small and installed in a small little port in the back of the case. And enter your codes via the screen, as the previous versions. And the small window at the top of the Game Genie was where you could see your codes if your sticker was in the back of the cartridge. The Sony PlayStation got their own Game Genie, but this time it was called the Game Shark. Because the PlayStation was a disc-based machine, the only way you could access the code was to open this I/O port on the back panel and plug in the Game Shark in the back slot. The serial port on the back of the device enabled you to access it with a computer and enter your own codes and save them in the database stored inside the ROM chip inside the Game Shark. When you turn the machine on, you have a list of games here you can select codes from. Select a game, select a code, or you can edit your own code and store them inside the Game Shark for future use later. These suckers just kept on coming, and in 1997, the N64 got their Game Shark. These also had a serial port on the back of these so people could connect with the computer and input their own custom codes for use at any time. This Game Shark had different program modes, and you can easily select those different modes by pressing the small little button on the right, which changed the LED input from 4 to 3 to 2 to 1. The Sega Saturn had their Game Shark, which installed on the top of the console via the expansion port. Had the same menu as the other Game Sharks and did the exact same things. I never owned before though. And there you have it, the Game Genie and Game Shark for the retro game machines of the past. Very unpopular in the early 90s, but became extremely popular by the end of the 90s, as in 1997 GoldenEye was released, and people bought the Game Shark just to play that game with it. You could access the cradle level for multiplayer mode, which was really good, and you can access parts of the levels that were never able to be accessed before using the Game Shark. I hope you enjoyed this video, as most people didn't know about the Game Genie before, but a lot of people did know about it. But if you're one of those few that did not know about this, maybe look up some more information on it. It was a really neat device, and also a lot of fun to play with. Thanks for watching.